And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here, Lucas from Mars, back again with another episode of this MLB Show 22 Custom League. And in this episode here, a big one for the Nashville Stars and the Houston Reapers here. The Houston Reapers ahead in this series now, 3-1 after back-to-back one-run victories. And in the last episode, they won 10-2 in game number 2. They have won 3 straight against the Nashville Stars. The recently last 2 losses for Nashville have been really close games. But the Houston Reapers here at home have a chance to close out this series and win this series here in 5 games. So a big game here. Nashville officially in elimination mode. And this is a big game because Game 6 and 7 will be played in Nashville Stadium. So, of course, Nashville needs to win this game, but you know, the tide shifting and the series moving to Nashville would certainly give the advantage back to the Stars. But the Reapers here leading 3-1, and this is kind of the similar story that we've seen from Houston in these playoffs. They beat the Boston Barons, only lost 1 game to them, and a 3-1. That series only went 4 games, and then they won the ALCS 3-1 against New York. They lost the opener of that series against the Reapers, and then they rattled off 4 straight wins against the Honey Badgers, and they have lost Game 2, but they have come back and won 3 straight here against Nashville. And on the mound for this game is Chris Archer. He has not made an appearance yet in the playoffs, and doesn't have a great regular season, only a 4.7 ERA with a 1.66 whip, so more of a bullpen type of game you would expect from Houston tonight. Chris Archer look to get him, 5, maybe 6 good innings if he can. But we'll see how he faces off against this Nashville batting order, which has been, of course, very good in the postseason. And in the World Series here, they've been pretty decent. We've seen a couple of standouts. Lindor has been alright. J.D. Davis has been pretty good. Trout has been really good in the World Series. He's batting 344 now. Schwarber 358, having a record postseason. Paul Goldschmidt, Max Kepler, Paul Young, Santiago Espinal, and then Manny Pena there. You can see the lineups and the batting averages. And here's J.D. Davis, who's going to swing and miss at that slider outside and at the knees. Chris Archer gets his first strikeout of the game. And, yeah, I mean, the season could end here today. In this episode, Houston was one of the better home teams in all of baseball this season. They might have had the best home record in all of baseball, but they've just been a kind of a juggernaut in the postseason here, and the key for them has been critical hits and critical times. They have had more clutch hits than I can count in this postseason so far, and that is rang true in this World Series. Here's Mike Trout, 6 for 11 in his last 3 games. He's having a great World Series, but that was a bad swing there on a off-speed pitch way inside for strike 3. Chris Archer fooling one of the better hitters in the league there with that pitch. Yeah, that was filthy there. So middle of the first inning here, 1-2-3 frame for Chris Archer to begin the night. And on the mound for Nashville here to try and keep their postseason hopes alive is Michael Wacha. Not showing you his stats, but he's had a good first couple of starts to the postseason as Roberto Mondesi steps to the plate. Batting 352 in the playoffs. He has done his job as leadoff hitter for the Reapers in the postseason. 19 hits for him so far in the playoffs. But we're going to look at the numbers for Michael Wacha in this postseason so far. A 2.45 ERA in 2 starts, 3 games started, and 2 quality starts for 14.2 innings, 13 hits allowed, 6 runs, but only 4 earned allowed in, his 14 innings of work. So, 1 home run allowed, 30 overall allowed by the Stars pitching staff this postseason, 3 walks to 7 strikeouts, and a 1.09 whip. So, yeah, he's had a good postseason here. And here we go, the 0-2 pitch to Mondesi to begin the ninth. That's a 4-seam fastball right on the corner for strike 3. Great pitch there by Wacha. Right on the corner, and I mean, a pretty filthy one there. Not much that Mondesi can do with that baseball. Look where it ended up one more time there, right on the corner. Here's J.D. Martinez. 146 hits in the regular season for him, and he's going to fly that ball into the outfielder there. That one goes foul for strike number 2. As here's 1-2. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Martinez. The swing, a drive to deep left field, and that ball is gone. JD Martinez with a home run. I believe that's his 3rd of the World Series here, and it is his 4th of the postseason. The Reapers strike first in game 5, 1-0. Man, 1-0 in the first, and Martinez took that fastball that was there outside and launched it over the wall. And he's had a pretty successful World Series to this point. 346 on the distance. That ball went out in a hurry, but it ends up going over the wall. Big swing right there. 1-0. After that swing, now Freddie Freeman, he's going to take a change up there for strike 1. Freddie Freeman, 333 average, a 969 OPS, 3 homers, and 9 RBIs in the postseason. He's having a really good World Series right now. 1-2 pitch. He is going to swing and miss at a fastball. 4-seamer high, a fastball there by Walker. And I mean, a brilliant strikeout pitch. So, Michael Walker recovering after giving up that home run. Still really early on in this game, but a good pitch sequence there. Not really anything for Freddie Freeman to drive on that at bat. Well, here's Rafael Devers, and you know he's been, of course, amazing in the postseason. He's got 7 home runs and 13 ribbies, a 269 average. He only has a few hits, I think, in the World Series. He does have a big home run though, so he's been kind of inconsistent a little bit in the World Series, but overall has been excellent in the playoffs for Houston. One of those guys that has had some really clutch hits. That ball misses, so the counter runs full on Devers here. 3-2 pitch. It's another 4-seamer. High in the zone, and Devers late on it for strike 3. So, I mean, a good response by Michael Walker. Gives up the home run to JD Martinez in the first inning. He gets a couple of strikeouts afterwards, and the Reapers up 1-0 here. And here he is, Kyle Schwarber, and he's had quite the postseason thus far. A 358 average for him, a 1.2 OPS, 9 homers and 25 ribbies. A record-setting postseason for Kyle Schwarber. 1-2, and that's a 4-seam fastball swung on and missed. Not a very fast pitch by Chris Archer, but it pumped it by Schwarber there at 91 miles an hour for strike 3. So now here's Paul Goldschmidt. And Paul Goldschmidt, 318 average, a 1 over 1 OPS, 7 homers, 16 ribbies. Really good postseason by him to this point. And he's been pretty good in this World Series. 1-2 pitch, ground ball. That's back up the middle. That's going to get on and through past the diving shortstop Bregman. And that's the first hit of the game for Nashville here. It is from Paul Goldschmidt. Raises that average to over 320 now after that swing. And here's Max Kepler. 0-2 pitch is a 4-seamer. Swung on and missed. That went 93, and Chris Archer's already got 4 strikeouts here in his first 5 outs of the game against the Stars. So Kepler there with a man on cannot catch up to that fastball. Looked like a late on that pitch, as here's Paul DeYoung. Only batting 186 in the postseason here. First pitch to him is a swing. That ball is hit well. It's out the line, but it's going to go foul. Wow, almost a homer by Paul DeYoung. As the 0-2 is a slider swung on and missed. And wow, 5 strikeouts for Chris Archer here in his first 6 outs of World Series Game 5. First postseason action for him, and I mean, he's been pretty impressive, I'd say, through 2 innings to this point. So still 1-0. We go bottom 2 here. Michael Walker handling himself better in this second inning. That's a ground ball from Matt Duffy. And Lindor's got it, handles it easily to make the out there to end the second inning. So, okay, that's a 1-2-3 frame there as we go to the third inning now. And here's Manny Pena. 1-2 pitch to him, only batting 164. That's a drive down the line. Yastrzemski on his horse. He does make that catch there in right field. That was a long run for Mike Yastrzemski, but he makes the play for out number 2. Here's Francisco Lindor. 5 for 19 overall in this series. He doesn't have any extra base hits or RBIs in the World Series to this point. So, you know, not nearly what he was doing in the postseason up until then, as he's going to pop this pitch up in the infield here. High in the air, Rafael Devers is there, and he makes the catch to end the top of the 3rd inning. So that was another 1-2-3 frame. Now 2 down in the bottom of the 3rd. Both these pitchers kind of settling in. Here's Eduardo Mondesi. 7 for 17 in the series. A couple of doubles for him so far. As the 1-2 pitch. It's on the corner for Seamer. Strikeout looking. Second one that Michael Wacha has gotten in this game. That's his 4th, I believe, overall tonight. And that was another 1-2-3 here in the 3rd. So we go to the top of the 4th. Here's Martinez, or J.D. Davis. I don't know why I said Martinez. J.D. Davis here, 0 for 1. Struck out his last time up. As he's got a 2-2 count on him now. He's going to ground that one past a diving attempt made by Freddie Freeman there at first base. That's going to be a single for J.D. Davis. So he gets on. Here's Mike Trout again. He is going to swing and miss. Slider outside. Archer's got 6 Ks, and he's gotten Mike Trout out twice here with the strikeouts. Yeah, an off-speed pitch way outside there. Mike Trout can't do anything with it. It was an elevated off-speed pitch, though, so maybe a little bit of a dangerous location, but for the Trout to get him out. Now it's Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber's going to ground this one over to first base, and it's one out there, and it's a double play. They just barely get Schwarber at first. So a heads-up play there by Freddie Freeman here. They could have ran over and tagged the bag, but probably the best move was to go to second there. Look at how close the play at first base was, and it was a pretty close play, but did get the out there. So here's the bottom of the 4th, and here's Martinez up again. Of course, he had that home run last time up, his 4th of the postseason. 7 RBIs now for him. And he's been pretty consistently reliable for the Stars, or for Houston, I mean, in this postseason, as Freddie Freeman awaits him on deck. The count running full. Wacha hasn't given up a base run, I don't believe, in a while. That's a 3-2. It's a cutter. Strike 3 on the inside corner. Waka's gotten his 5th strikeout of the game. Well, here's Freddie Freeman, 6 for 14 with a homer and 4 ribbies in the postseason. He is having an excellent series as that fastball misses. He's getting on base a ton. I mean, he's walked 4 or 5 times at least in the postseason and even in this World Series. But here's Devers. Yeah, only 3 for 16 with a homer and a couple of ribbies for him overall in this World Series. So he's kind of slowed down with the average at least a little bit, but you know, he still had a little bit of a big impact in the World Series. But here's a 3-1 to Devers now, and Rafael Devers is going to crush this ball down the line and left, and it is gone! A no-doubter from Devers, number 8 in the postseason for him. 2nd of the World Series. The Reapers go ahead 3-0 here in the 4th. And man, Devers knew it right away. A little bit of a different animation that we just saw there from him. A drive to the opposite field, I believe, for Rafael Devers there. And man, he just tosses his bat to the ground. 334 on the distance. I mean, didn't get out by a whole ton, but got over that large wall out there in left field. Wow. So 3-0, just like that. As that's a swing and a ground ball that is out number 2 here in this 4th inning. But yeah, I mean, Devers, 8 home runs. He's now has, I think, 17 RBIs. After that swing, he's just been miraculous. He's been the best power bat, at least, for the Houston Stars in the postseason. As that was a line drive, but it ends up being an out there. And 2 hits for the Reapers. They got 3 runs, and right now they are up 3-0 here, leading the series 3-1. Another look at where that ball ended up. So where's the offense right now for Nashville? They are struggling to get anything going right now off of Chris Archer. Goldschmidt 1 for 1, 5 for 17 now in this World Series here. 2-1 to him. That's a ground ball and a nice diving stop. Devers showing off his bat in the last inning, and then he shows off his glove down there at third base. Wow, that was a great defensive play. And, you know, Devers not an amazing defender. He's pretty decent at defense, but, man, that was a fantastic stop right there. So here's Paul DeYoung, only 3 hits in the World Series. And it was a home run, but, yeah, he's been a little struggling in the postseason overall. And he's going to ground it right to Freddie Freeman again, and that's another double play. Second straight inning that Chris Archer has got a double play, and this is more than you would expect from Chris Archer, more than they really asked for him tonight. Already 5 innings, only has allowed 2 runs, and how about this start from him? I mean, what a gutsy performance in an elimination game like this. First appearance in the postseason, a guy that didn't really have great regular season numbers. He has been really, really fantastic in this game. So here's Matt Duffy, only a couple of doubles in this World Series, and really he has not had, he's only had a handful of hits since the divisional round. He's been really struggling as of late. And here's James McCann. You know, he's had a couple of big hits. He does have 8 RBIs, but only he's batting .216 in the postseason. Well, here's the first pitch to him after that walk, and a nice stop by the first baseman Goldschmidt, and it's going to be a double play. Yes, they do get the out at first. Wow. Really close play there at first base, but a good turn here by Paul Goldschmidt. So you look at this, nice stop there on a little bit of a dive, and a good job to throw the ball there and get right back to first base again. And yeah, just barely beats out McCann for the outs. So now here's Mike Yastrzemski at the dish, and he's going to foul that 4-seamer back. Yastrzemski, I mean, last 3 games, 6 for 11, 545 average. He's been good in the World Series overall, and I mean, he's been one of those key hitters that has really turned it on. Him along with Alex Bregman and Freddie Freeman, I think those guys have been absolutely crucial to Houston's success in this World Series right now. So that's the end of that inning. Now we're in the 6th inning, and nothing happening for Nashville in this inning right now. There's a walk by Lindor to get a man on base. But man, Chris Archer, how about, I mean, 6 innings for him in this game would be really, really good. He's going to try and get that here. Here's J.D. Davis, one of only 2 hits tonight. And he's going to get another one, as that is going to go underneath the glove of Devers there at third base. So as 2 and 3 hits belong to J.D. Davis in this game. And this is the best run-scoring opportunity that the Stars have had all night. First time the Nashville's had a runner in scoring position in this game. And Mike Trout is up. He's 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts. It's a ground ball to Bregman. And that's an easy play to make there. They go the short way to end the inning. So, man, 6 incredible innings by Chris Archer. And once again, this Houston pitching staff, a key for their success. And it's really, really showing up in this game right now for them. Here's Ronaldo Lopez, 6.2 innings. So he's gotten some good playoff action now. Good sample size. And, you know, he's been inconsistent in the postseason to this point for sure. Here's Freddie Freeman. Line drive. That one's going to fall in. It's only going to be a base hit. But the 7th hit of this World Series for Freddie Freeman. Just fantastic World Series. And he is in the running right now for a World Series MVP. That is how good he has been into this World Series. Only, you know, of course, I mean, this series might not end in this episode. But, you know, we'll, of course, go over the postseason stats when the postseason does come to a close. But there's a look at the home run by Devers back in the 4th inning. That was his last at bat. So here in the 6th, there's a swing and a miss. High fastball, and Ronaldo Lopez gets a big strikeout. First one that we've seen in a few innings there, but Houston gets his 3rd hit, but no runs. So kind of a low-scoring pitcher's duel type of game right now that we have. We're in the 7th inning, and Chris Archer is going to still pitch. Wow, this would be quite the night for him if he can continue. We'll see how far he goes as Kyle Schwarber is at the plate here. Schwarber's going to ground this one over to Mondesi. Mondesi stops it, but he does not get it in his glove, and that is going to be maybe a base hit. I think they counted that as a base hit to Kyle Schwarber. Either way, a base runner, and now they're going to go to the bullpen, and that's going to be it for Chris Archer. What an incredible game, though. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs. I mean, he is on the hook for Kyle Schwarber right now at first base, but just a fantastic game. Way more and way better than you would expect from him tonight. What a game from him. Paul Sewald comes out of the bullpen. 6.1 innings, and he had a really good start to the playoffs, but he's kind of struggled. He's given up some runs in this World Series, so we'll see how he does. Paul Goldschmidt is at the plate here. Line drive, and Sanchez. Oh, Sanchez doesn't get it. It's over his head and just past his glove. That's going to be a base hit. Schwarber had to hold up there because he probably thought it was going to be caught. And I thought it was going to be caught as well on first swing. As you look at the replay here, let's see how close this ball was to Sanchez's glove. And yeah, wow, it was just above it. So probably a play that Jesus Sanchez could have made if he took a little bit of a better angle to the ball or even reached up a little bit higher there with the glove. It's a base hit, so now 2 men on, nobody out. Easily the best scoring chance that we've seen all night for Nashville right now. And here's Max Kepler. 0 for 1, gone on base with a walk in the 5th inning. He hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, he's gotten on base still decently well in this World Series, but doesn't have a ton of ribbies. There's a ground ball to Devers, and they're going to get one out there, and the first baseman for a double play. Man, that is a pretty big gut punch. I mean, a base hit guarantees a run now, but it's going to have to come down to a base hit at this point. Kyle Schwarber standing 90 feet away. It's down to Paul DeJong, 0 for 2 in the game. Still with only 3 hits in the postseason, but for this World Series, big scoring chance. It's a ground ball to Devers. Stopped by Devers, over to first. That's in time to end the top of the 7th. Wow. Huge scoring opportunity is wasted by Nashville. Really their only one that they've had all game. And they are now down to their last 6 outs of their season here tonight in Game 5. Well, can Houston add on some more runs? I don't really know if I would feel comfortable about only a 3-run lead against this Nashville offense, especially the way that Houston's bullpen has been kind of struggling all postseason long. But now you get set up for Jeffrey Springs and Kendall Graveman, and those 2 guys have been excellent all postseason long and have not really given up a whole lot. So, tall task for Nashville, but a man on base to try and start something in this 9th inning. It's a ground ball, though. One out there, throwing to first base, not going to be in time. So, not another double play. We've seen 3 or 4 of those tonight, but 1 down in the inning. Now there's 2 outs for James McCann. 1 and 2 is a line drive, and it is caught by the outfielder there. That was a good catch there by Max Kepler. And, okay, Renato Lopez gets 3 innings of actually good, or that might have only been his 2nd inning, but still good work out of the bullpen for him. But yeah, you set up Jeffrey Springs, who 2.2 innings, not a huge sample, but he's pitched a couple of times in this World Series and has yet to give up a run. 500 average against the lefties, probably has only faced a couple of them, but he's been good, so we'll see. And he had an excellent regular season. And it's the bottom of the order, 8-9-1 for Nashville here. It's put up time or shut up time right now in this game. They got to get something going here. Got to get at least 1 back in this 8th inning, you think, as that's going to be a base hit for Santiago Espinal. He does get on with a single. So there's a base runner here for Nashville. And they can getting a little bit more of those recently in the last couple of innings. Still need to take advantage of them, though. So beat that one out pretty easily. Here's Manny Pena. 3-2 count to him as that fastball misses inside. So Jeffrey Springs, a little uncharacteristic, struggling to start the inning. A couple of base runners with a hit and a walk. Set up Francisco Lindor. 5 for 20. Biggest spot of this World Series that he's been in right now. 1-0 pitch to him, and he pops it up again. 2nd pop-up of the game for him. That's an infield fly roll, and that's an out. And a really unproductive one at that. Nobody moves up, and now there's 1 down in the inning. Wow, J.D. Davis, one of the few guys to have a good day in this game here. 7 for 20 overall in the postseason. as he takes that fastball there for a strike. 0-1, the count now to J.D. Davis. Big spot, big at bat right here, right now. Davis has had some big swings in the postseason before this. And here's the 0-1 to him from Springs. It's a four-seamer, crushed by J.D. Davis, way back to left field, off of the batter's eye and left, and gone! Tie game off the bat of J.D. Davis! Fourth of the playoffs, second of the World Series, 3-run blast. We are tied in the 8th. Wow, I mean, big swings from Davis in the postseason. That one, his biggest yet. 397 on the distance. That ball was crushed. And something off of Jeffrey Springs. How about that? 4 outs left in their season. And they tie the game. Wow, nothing going all night for them offensively. Only had like 5 hits until that point, and now they have a tie game, and now that's going to be extra bases for Mike Trout. That's a double. So now the go-ahead run is in scoring position, and that's what I'm talking about with this offense. It is just so, I mean, lights out, and it can just run up on you just like that. This team can strike within a moment's notice. That's how good their offense is. Wow, so Jeffrey Springs is going to be taken out of the game, and that was a bad outing for him. 3 runs given up, including blowing the hold there. And now it's Alex Vesia. He's given up 6 runs in 3.2 innings in the postseason, so he's not been that great out of the bullpen, and that's an interesting choice to go to him right now in this spot. But not a lot of other guys for Nashville or for Houston to trust right now in their bullpen, as that's a strike to Kyle Schwarber, who is 1 for 3 on the night, and we've seen him come up with clutch swing after clutch swing in the postseason for Nashville here, as he takes a four-seam fastball there for strike, or for a ball high in the zone. They count at 1-1, and these fans all up and standing a moment before, and now it's really nervous time right now in Houston in this game. All of a sudden tied at 3. So the count goes to full now as that ball misses. Huge pitch here. 3-2 to Schwarber. And is a swing and a miss. Four-seamer on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch by Alex Vesia. And man, Schwarber laid on that fastball. Wow, that's a big out. Number 2 of the inning. And now it's Paul Goldschmidt, who's 2 for 3 in the game. And they're just going to decide to move on and not pitch to him. You know, that's not a decision that, I mean, I think I would, that's not a unfathomable choice there. He's been excellent, of course, in the postseason in the World Series. Max Kepler's been pretty good, man. He's 6 for 18 with 3 doubles in this World Series and in the postseason batting over 300. So, still, a guy that can beat you for sure, as that slider is fouled back. But Max Kepler definitely a lot less experience in big-time moments like these, as the count is 1-2. Huge pitch from Vesia coming up. The 1-2. Swing and a miss on a perfect slider down below the knees. Filthy stuff from Alex Vesia. 3rd out of the top of the 8th inning, and that stops the bleeding, as Houston, though, is now tied with Nashville. What a huge 8th inning. 3-3 to score. And a whole different ball game right now in the bottom of the 8th. But again, we've seen Houston, as that is a curveball. Yastrzemski way late on in that pitch. He was that was a pretty filthy and ugly looking swing right there. You know, we've seen Houston, though. This is what they have been best at in the postseason, is coming up with these late runs. They've had 1 walk-off in the World Series, but in the postseason, that was in the ALCS, but, I mean, they've had, 5 or 6 games that they score in the 8th or 9th innings in this postseason. They did that all ALCS long, and they have, won a couple of 1-run games right now in this World Series. I wonder how many 1-run games they've won overall in the postseason. I actually don't know that, but here's J.D. Martinez. 1 for 3, and Earl Lopez got the first couple of outs of this inning easily enough here, as Martinez Big home run. That was way back in the first inning. That slider misses, though. The count moves to 3-1. And Freddie Freeman on fire in this World Series. Don't want to give him the chance to bat in this inning. As here's a 3-1. And it's a curveball that misses inside. So Freddie Freeman's going to get his chance here in the bottom of the 8th. And they're actually going to go to the bench here and bring out Jake Myers as a pinch runner. I believe he's had an at-bat in the postseason. But here's Freddie Freeman. As 1 for 2, he's singled and walked in this game, each base twice. 0-1, that was a good fastball there. Outside corner for strike number 2. Count now 2-2 to Freeman. And that part slider misses inside and low, so the count is full on Freddie Freeman here with Rafael Devers on deck. 3-2 from Lopez to Freeman. It is a ground ball. It's down the line. It's past the diving glove of Espinal. And around third comes Myers. He's coming in to score. The throw is offline. Jake Myers scores. Freddie Freeman with a monster double. Houston takes the lead in the 8th inning. 4-3. Man, oh man, Freddie Freeman's had some clutch hits in his career. That one of his biggest. Wow, and Houston again, another clutch late inning swing from the Houston Reapers. They've been doing it all postseason long, and they have a 3-4 lead. They're looking to get more right now, though. They got 2 men on and 2 men out still. Jesus Sanchez, he's going to pop it up in the infield, and it looks like Goldschmidt's going to get it. But, man, Nashville made their comeback in the 8th inning. Now they're going to have to do it again. They are down by 1, 3 outs away. The Houston Reapers are now just that close to clinching a World Series championship. First year of this postseason. Who is going to who is going to succeed? Can the Stars stay alive in this postseason? Jake Myers is on the field now, and here's Kendall Graveman. He's 7 for 7 in the postseason, and he did give up a run last time we saw him out of the bullpen, though. But he's been so good overall in the postseason. 176 average against righties, 286 against lefties. He's just been fantastic. And here is Paul DeJong. 3-1, a count to him. That's a four-seamer, that's a walk, and that is a base runner. Okay, that's what you need right now. If you're Nashville, that leads off the inning. Unfortunately for them, they have the bottom of their order to come up right now, but the bottom of their order got things going in the 8th inning, so they can do that again here in the 9th. Here's Espinal, who started the 8th inning with a infield single. He's going to try and lay down a bunt here, and it's a ball that's hit pretty hard, but it's actually going to work as a sacrifice, as the runner is going to move up to second base. So there's your go-ahead run in the form of Paul DeJong at second base, or the tying run at second base now. Here's Manny Pena. Manny Pena is going to ground it down the line, and that's going to be a unhelpful out. Good jump throw from Rafael Devers there at third base. As that runner, Paul DeJong, staying put at second, and now Houston an out away. And man, a big sense of anticipation building in this ballpark. Everybody standing up on their feet now. A strike away from a championship. The 0-2 to Lindor, and runs inside and it hits him. So there's another base runner, and guess who's coming up? J.D. Davis. Of course, it's going to come down to him. 3 for 4 tonight. 0-1 pitch. Ground ball, and how fitting! It's to Freddie Freeman! He touches the bag! The Houston Reapers have won the World Series! Champions in the first season of this custom franchise. And of course, it's the guy that takes the lead for the Reapers in the 8th inning that gets the final out in the 9th. Wow, it's championship for the Houston Reapers in 5 games. 4-3 win in Game 5, and they only lost 3 times all playoff long. What a dominant run from the Houston Reapers in the postseason. Wow, and the celebration just getting underway here on the field, and that's what they won. That championship trophy is theirs, property of the Houston Reapers. Wow, and Freddie Freeman taking center stage. He was incredible in this World Series. And Jake Myers there, look at his celebration. Mike Yastrzemski out there in right field, getting his first championship ring. And there it is, Dusty Baker, a manager here, finally getting a World Series trophy as he lifts it up. And then celebration, 2022 World Series champs. And it's their first, it's the second from the team that we've taken over, but their first World Series in this custom franchise belongs to Houston. Wow, what a team, and, only 88 wins in the regular season. They were, the third best team in the National League, so not necessarily the team that you would have picked going in to the postseason. I thought that they were going to have a pretty good postseason, but, man, I did not expect them to go all the way like this, and, they only lost 3 games. They just played so many close games, though, in the postseason, and they just won all of them. They were so good in these one-run games that came down to the wire. This one, no difference. And you see the final averages here from the Nashville Stars. Their offense, certainly not the issue. You had Lindor over 3 in this game. 286 average for him overall. J.D. Davis, 254. He had a great game today, 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs. 11 in the playoffs for him and 4 homers. Mike Trout had 9 doubles in the playoffs. That's pretty ridiculous. 338 average. 352 for Schwarber. 333 for Goldschmidt. 302 for Kepler. 177 for DeYoung. 258 for Espinal. And Manny Payne batted 155. And the pitching, that had to be the biggest struggle for Nashville in the playoffs was their bullpen. And their starting pitching was inconsistent. And you saw a good start there by Michael Wacha, 5 innings. But, Nashville, their offense finally did something. They made that comeback. But, yeah, a run given up by Reynaldo Lopez in the 8th. That was a big blow. Mondesi, 0 for 4, had a good series. 328 overall in the playoffs. He was really good. Martinez had a big home run, his 4th of the postseason, batted 278. And Freddie Freeman, 353 average. This is what he finishes with. And he was 2 for 3 with that monster double and the go-ahead, what ended up being the game-winning RBI, and got the final outs in the 9th inning. Devers, 273 average, 8 home runs, and 15 ribbies for him to finish the postseason off. Sanchez batted 313, really good numbers for him. Bregman, 259, Duffy, 200, and the rest of the team there. On this pitching for the Houston Reapers, that was their secret success. The secret sauce that they had in this postseason. Chris Archer had an unreal start. 6 innings, 4 hits allowed, only 2 walks and 6 strikeouts. Sewald pitched an inning, didn't give up a run. And, give the 3 runs given up by Jeffrey Springs there. But another save by Kendall Graveman, who got 8 of them in the playoffs. Really impressive. So that's the end of the postseason here. And, man, 3 straight games decided by 1 run in this World Series. So Houston, a 3-1 series win in the divisional round, 4-1 in the LCS, and 4-1 in the World Series. We go to the awards, and guess what? It's Freddie Freeman. He is going to be the World Series MVP. And the playoff MVP is also going to go to Freddie Freeman. Okay. I think Freddie Freeman, yeah, I definitely deserved it for the World Series. Look at that, 500 average in the World Series and a homer and 5 ribbies. That is incredible. How about that? What a playoffs for Freddie Freeman and his second ring in, one in real life and one in this franchise now. And, yeah, you certainly could have made the case for, it goes by average. I think that's the biggest thing in these awards for the CPU. Is what the averages are. That's kind of the most deciding factor. Freddie Freeman overall batted 333 in the postseason. You certainly could have made a case for Rafael Devers for the Houston Reapers. He finished with the most homers and most RBIs for them. But I think Freddie Freeman was pretty deserving as well. But of course, nobody else could have won this award of the postseason MVP for the Stars and Kyle Schwarber. 358 average, 9 homers, and 25 ribbies. That is a record-breaking postseason for Kyle Schwarber. Absolutely incredible. So those are the awards for year 1 of the postseason. And we're going to look at the stats now. We're going to go and we're going to look at every team, and we're going to recap the stats a little bit for your world champion Houston Reapers here. Let's see what they did and what their hitters did in the postseason. There's Freddie Freeman, 18 hits in this postseason overall and 51 at-bats, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, a stolen base, 353 average for him overall. And, I mean, just fantastic. 429 on base. That is really fantastic by him there. And a 588 slugging percentage, a 1.017 OPS, and 9 walks to 13 strikeouts. Had the most walks out of anybody on the team. 3 doubles, 30 total bases. I mean, that's a MVP caliber type of postseason for you there. About a modesty, had 19 hits in the postseason. Only 2 homers and 3 RBIs, but 4 stolen bases, 391 on base is a little bit, I mean, not as good. I mean, it's so good on base percentage. Good postseason by him, and a really good postseason by Jesus Sanchez. Batted .313, 15 hits, 4 homers, and 7 ribbies. I mean, 400 on base percentage and over 1 OPS for him. As a 24-year-old guy in his first postseason action, definitely take that. He had a really good playoffs for sure with 9 strikeouts to 6 walks and 3 doubles. JD Martinez, no doubles, 5 walks for him, 839 OPS, a 500 slugging percentage, 278 average, 15 hits, 4 home runs, and 7 RBIs for him. And yeah, 17 strikeouts. That was the most of anybody on the team, I believe there. 27 in total bases. And I believe I go all the way to the WAR here. Yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman and Alberto Mondesi had almost 1 WAR. Rafael Devers had an over 1.1, over 1 WAR for the playoffs overall. That's that's really impressive for him. But yeah, Rafael Devers is the only other guy that I could say, yeah, probably could have been there for the postseason MVP. He had 15 hits in his 35 at-bats, 8 home runs. That was the most, led the team. 15 RBIs, led the team. But, you know, 273 average, only a 333 on base, 800 slugging. That's a ridiculous slugging percentage, though. 1.113 OPS, 5 walks to 15 strikeouts. He had 5 doubles, too, led the team with that number. So he had a ton of extra base hits, and in fact, 13 of his 15 extra hits were extra base knocks. That's pretty incredible. Yastrzemski, 13 hits for him, 2 homers and 8 RBIs, and he had a really good World Series, to be honest. He had like 6 hits, I think, in the World Series. That is pretty impressive. He only walked once, had 2 doubles for him. And then Alex Bregman, he kind of turned it on following the divisional round. He had a good ALCS and a probably even better World Series. He had 3 home runs, I believe, 5 total with 10 RBIs, 14 hits overall. And the on-base, you know, less than 300. He only had 1 walk, I believe, in the playoffs. And an 854 OPS. James McCann struggled a little bit. 11 hits for him, 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 593 OPS. Yeah, didn't really do that great. Only 2 walks to 10 strikeouts. 5 walks to 12 strikeouts for Matt Duffy. Really only had like 4 or 5 hits after the ALDS, and he only had 11 total with 5 RBIs. And nobody else in this team, I mean, you saw Jake Myers, he did score a run, a pretty big one actually, in Game 5, but nobody else on this team got an at-bat in the postseason. So yeah, the offense as a whole really did their job. They played really well, and the pitching, really good. I mean, Jose Barrios, kind of up and down a little bit. 23 innings for him, 19 strikeouts to 6 walks, a 1.3 whip and a 4.3 OPS. He had 2 starts, and 2 quality starts, and gave up 11 runs and 24 hits in 23 innings. So, yeah, he had one really, I mean, his first start of the playoffs was excellent. Had not a great start in his second start, and then his third start, you know, pretty good. So, up and down overall, but still good postseason for him. And James Paxton was unreal. Wow, 22.1 innings, only 13 strikeouts, but only 12 hits allowed, and 3 earned runs. That is fantastic. He had an unbelievable couple of starts, and yeah, really, really good and really key pitcher for the kind of the MVP of the pitching staff for the Reapers in this postseason. And Mike Minor only gave up 5 runs in 20.2 innings and a sub-1 whip. Really good numbers by him as well. He was fantastic in this postseason. Ryan Yarbrough was decent. He had kind of a rough start. He had one pretty bad, one maybe a rough start in the playoffs. And 18 hits given up, 9 runs allowed. So he was all right. But Kendall Graveman, 1 run allowed, 8 saves, 8.1 innings, 11 strikeouts. Fantastic game, a fantastic postseason for him. The only big, really guy that you wanted to lean on in the postseason for the Reapers here. Paul Sewald, 4 runs in 7.1 innings overall, 11 strikeouts. He was kind of a little bit up and down, had a good stretch, but overall kind of up and down. We just saw Chris Archer dominates in his Game 5 start. Connor Brogdon, 3 runs in 5.1 innings, a 1.5 whip is pretty high for sure. Daniel Hudson, 4 runs in 4.2 innings. Yeah, not great. Alex Vesia, 6 runs in 4.1 innings. So not great for him. But he did have a couple of big outs in Game 5. Jeffrey Springs, 3 runs all given up in Game 5. 3 innings for him. And then Elers de los Santos pitched in Game 2 of the World Series. Pitched 1.2 innings and gave up a run. So, yeah, the bullpen was definitely shaky for the Houston Reapers here. But overall, their starting pitching was unreal. And maybe a little bit of turnover for this team. I believe Mike Minor is a free agent for them. I know James Paxton definitely is a free agent for the Houston Reapers. I don't know if they will be able to retain James Paxton. We'll have to see. But you look at the Diablos, they were eliminated in the wild card game. Brandon Woodruff had a pretty decent start in that one, but, I mean, these are really quick stats. Yasmani Grandal had a couple of hits in that World Series, in that wild card game. Mike Moustakas had a hit and an RBI and a homer. But nobody else really for this team did a whole lot in that game. Their offense was pretty dead silent in that one. And the pitching was just okay. And here's the Crusaders, who got eliminated in the National League wildcard game. 4 for 5 was Luke Voigt in that game. He had a really impressive day. Dolis Garcia was 2 for 3. Rendon was 2 for 4. I mean, pretty much everybody in this lineup got 1 hit at least in that wildcard game, but they were not able to pull out the win in that one. DeGrom was, he was all right. He gave up 3 runs in 6 innings, I believe. Their bullpen sucked in that game, and that was what ended up being their downfall because their bullpen just could not do anything. Well, here's Nashville, and they got a long way. You know, this team, they were the best team in baseball and record, and I mean, they won Game 7, and they went really far. I think this team is going to be good for a really long time, though. This team should be able to retain pretty much everybody here. I think Michael Wacha's a free agent, but he's not going to be paid a lot of money. So I think for the most part, this team is going to stay intact going into next year. 16 runs for Noah Syndergaard, 7 allowed for Michael Wacha. He gave up 7 earned. Sensatella, 12 runs earned, 24 hits. I mean, had a little bit of a bad start in the World Series for him. And overall, the starting pitching for Nashville was definitely not unbelievable. It really wasn't that great. Ranger Suarez had the best stats of anybody on this starting rotation. Or Michael Wacha probably had the best stats of anybody in the rotation, actually. But 11 runs given up by Marco Gonzalez. Ranger Suarez, I mean, he had 3 starts, so, you know, he had a pretty good sample size, 15 innings and gave up 4 runs. You know, didn't have an amazing start in the World Series, but had an excellent Game 6 start and that Game 6 loss for the Stars, that really good, crazy pitchers duel. But the bullpen in this game was really, in the postseason, was a big-time struggle all postseason long. Renato Lopez gave up 6 runs. Noah Ramirez gave up 6 runs, very inconsistent. And the bullpen overall was really inconsistent. I mean, that was the Achilles heel for this team in the postseason. Reared its ugly head more times than not, almost, for them. Jimmy Nelson really sucked. I mean, he gave up 8 runs in 8 innings. I didn't even want to use him at some point. I mean, yeah, just a really bad numbers by him. And Brad Keller had a good outing. I mean, he had pitched a few good innings in the World Series, but gave up 6 runs allowed overall. He really struggled as well. Paul Fry gave up 4 runs and 6 hits. And Trevor May, I mean, he didn't blow a save, actually. He got like 5 saves, I think, but he did give up 3 runs, so he was even a little bit inconsistent. John Hawley gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. And Mark Melanson gave up 3 runs in 5.1 innings, and all of them in the World Series. So, I mean, the Stars, if you're the Nashville Stars, you know exactly what you need to fix on this ball club going into next season. You got an excellent offense. You got some guys in the pipeline, like Michael Harris is going to be a starter on this team next year. And, you know, you got Brady House down there in the minors. You got another really good, Bryce Lewis is down there in the minors for them. He's almost ready to play in the major leagues. So you got a lot of guys there. You got a really good offense right now. You need the pitching help, though. You need to fix this bullpen, and you need to probably get a starting pitcher. This team is going to be excellent. I mean, this team is going to be out there in the free agent market. They're going to want to get a starter, and they're going to want to get an ace. So we'll see if they can do that in the offseason. But JD Martinez, I mean, he had a great Game 5 and a great postseason. He actually led the team and averaged this postseason 23 hits in 65 at-bats for him. 4 homers and 11 RBIs, 468 on base percentage. That's unreal. He had 12 walks to 12 strikeouts. Just a fantastic postseason for him. And, I mean, this is a guy that, you know, only 80 overall, but, man, that bat is something special. And speaking of something special, is Kyle Schwarber. 3 walks to 20 strikeouts, so didn't walk a lot, but an 803 slugging, that's unreal. A 1.184 OPS, and 25 hits. 9 homers, 25 RBIs. I can't remember how many doubles he got, but he had a ton of extra base hits in the postseason, and he had, I think, he had like 3 4 RBI games, and he had 2 4 RBI nights. He had like 3 RBI nights, and he had 3 multi-homer postseason games. Just unreal stuff from him, and the postseason MVP for this team. And Mike Trout, you know, maybe the home runs weren't there for him, but, I mean, he was unreal. 22 hits and 65 at-bats, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. I mean, still had a 677 OPS, 11 walks to 11 strikeouts, got on base a ton, and had 9 doubles. That led the team, that led everybody in the postseason. He was really, I mean, he had, you know, 12 extra base hits, so he did get on base and extra base hits a lot. Paul Goldschmidt, 23 hits for him, 7 homers, 16 ribbies, and a 667 slugging percentage and a 1.03. I mean, 4 guys there with over 1 OPS. That's pretty awesome there. 7 walks for Goldschmidt, and a fantastic postseason for him. And Max Kepler, very surprising having him, you know, really, this is a postseason that I did not see coming from him. I mean, 19 hits and a 302 average with a, you know, 959 OPS. He had a lot of good swings and, you know, 3 doubles, 7 walks, so did really good. Lindor had 6 walks and 830 OPS, 20 hits for him, and 3 homers and 8 RBIs. Maybe not an amazing World Series for him, but still a good postseason overall. Then it kind of falls off from there, but, you know, Espinal struggled a ton in the beginning of the postseason, ended up with 16 hits, so not an amazing postseason for him. Paul DeJong definitely struggled a lot, 11 hits in total, 3 homers and 7 RBIs. Manny Pena only had 9 hits in 58 at-bats, 2 homers and 7 ribbies. I mean, you don't expect him to do anything offensively. He was a good defender, though, behind the plate, and that's what you really need from him. And then Willie Carter did actually have an at-bat, but didn't do anything. And that's an offensive showcase there. That team gets some pitching next year, and it really has a reliable staff in their starting pitching. I mean, that team is going to be so incredibly dangerous. And you go to Kansas City, and this team got eliminated in 4 games by Nashville, but, you know, they had some good offensive performances. 8 hits for Austin Nola, 7 for Tommy La Stella, 7 for Jose Abreu, and 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. But Alex Dickerson was really the tail of this team's postseason. He had 5 home runs, all of them coming in his first 3 playoff games, 8 hits overall, and he had a double. So he had 6 of his 8 hits in the postseason were all extra base hits. You know, he didn't really do much, actually, after Game 2 of the ALCS or ALDS in that series, but he had an unreal postseason overall, and I would be fascinated to see what happens, you know, if that run was extended. But this team is going to be back. This team is really talented. They got a lot of a pretty young core in this ball club, although Jose Abreu is going to be a free agent. I think Alex Dickerson will be too, so there might be some change and some turnover for this team going into the offseason. And you see the rest of the offense here, Bollywood Jr., Brandon Nimmo, those guys didn't really do that great in the postseason here for them. So the offense was a little bit inconsistent for them. But I think that their pitching definitely struggled, and their bullpen was, not a great bullpen in the postseason here. Austin Nola had a couple of starts, and he just really did not perform well in either one of them. He had 2 starts, and he didn't have any quality starts. Gave up 9 runs and 13 hits in 10.2 innings. Kyle Hendricks gave up 5 runs and 6 hits in 5.1 innings. Dane Dunning also gave up 5 runs. In his 5 innings of work, only 2 strikeouts. Zach Gallen also gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. Dylan Flo only gave up 1 run in 3.2 innings, so he was good out of the bullpen. Zach Davies only gave up a run in 3.1 innings. And Colin McHugh, 3 innings pitched, 1 run given up, and 4 hits allowed. Joe Payamps pitched 3 innings and didn't give up a run. So, Cole Irvin really sucked. I mean, he gave up only 3 earned runs, but 6 runs overall in 2.2 innings, and he just really struggled. I mean, he gave up 4 walks, too, so a 3.75 whip is just absolutely awful. And, 6 hits and 4 walks in, 2.2 innings. Mike Myers pitched 2 really good innings, and Andrew Chafin really struggled there, gave up 3 runs. So, honestly, one good inning for Tim Bastar. I mean, besides Andrew Chafin and Cole Irvin, this bullpen actually performed pretty well for the most part, but 3 hits and a walk allowed by Tim Bastar. But yeah, overall, the pitching for them was not nearly where they needed it to be. As we go to the Arrows here, and the Arrows, they pushed the Nashville Stars to their limit in the postseason and pushed them to Game 7. Max Scherzer had an incredible Game 6 start. Dustin May was all right, a little inconsistent maybe. 9 runs given up by him. Daniel Cease struggled to give up 8 runs. Pedro Baez gave up 4 runs in 8.1 innings. And James Kaprielian pitched like 5 or 6 really solid innings in the beginning of the playoffs. Kind of struggled in the championship series there. Garrett Whitlock gave up 2 runs. He had a pretty good postseason. Chad Cole gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. Brian Abreu had an excellent ALCS. He didn't give up a single run after the divisional round. Chris Bubik, 3 runs and 7 hits in 5 innings. I mean, pretty decent there. Zach Eflin really sucked. And Zach Godley also was really struggling there. 4 runs for him. Cole Sulser, though, didn't give up a run in 2.2 innings pitched. So, yeah, I mean, the pitching for the Arrows was not necessarily where they really wanted it to be. But go to the offense, and the offense was pretty decent for them, or maybe a little up and down, but overall wasn't bad. As you go to the offense here, Diaz was 1 for 1, but Josh Donaldson, 15 hits and 39 at-bats, a .467 on-base percentage, and an over 1 OPS. I mean, that's some ridiculous numbers right there from Josh Donaldson. A homer, 7 RBIs. And overall was definitely this team's best hitter. He had 5 walks on top of that and 3 doubles. So, yeah, Josh Donaldson, best hitter for the Arrows. Really good stuff from him. Cedric Mullins, 14 at-bats, or 14 hits and 44 at-bats. 4 stolen bases, no homers, 9 RBIs. So, yeah, not a lot of power maybe for him, and below 800 OPS, but still had a couple of big hits. David Fletcher, 10 for his at-bats and 278 average. Didn't really do a whole lot, and he didn't have an RBI at all, which is kind of crazy. But 11 hits for Votty, and 5 of them were homers. 13 RBIs led the team there with those numbers and a 966 OPS. Gavin Lux, 11 hits, 2 homers and 4 ribbies. Mark Canha, 10 hits, a homer, 2 RBIs for him, an 805 OPS. Dominic Smith had a absolutely monster base hit back in Game 7 of that ALCS game, the NLCS Game 7, but overall only had 10 hits in the playoffs and didn't really perform that great. Marcell Ozuna really turned it on in the ALCS. He had 3 home runs in that series and only ended up batting .200 with 8 hits, but did have a good ALCS. 7 hits for Danny Jansen with a hit and 4 RBIs. So, yeah, it was a little bit inconsistent. Some standouts there, but maybe a little bit more consistent you want this offense to be. But, yeah, this team should be good next year again, and the offense should be basically the exact same going into next year. One team that the offense was just not there for was this B squad. You had Odubel Herrera, surprisingly, was really good. And remember, this team did not have Ronald Acuna Jr. for this postseason, and that certainly hurt them because the offense overall, outside of Odubel Herrera and Miguel Andujar, was just not very good at all. Andujar had 2 home runs and 2 RBIs, but, you know, Nick Madrigal had 4 hits. He did get on base a decent amount, but, yeah, you know, Elias Diaz, 3 hits, a homer, 2 RBIs. But really beyond that, nobody did much of anything. Teoscar Hernandez, 2 hits, but only one of them was that home run that he had back in Game 1, I believe, of the LDS. And he had a couple of walks. Luis Torrens, 2 hits, had a home run in like the 9th inning of Game 2, I believe. Joey Wendell only had 2 hits and an RBI, 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. TJ Crone, only 1 hit, and Anderson Simmons, and nobody else got a hit. So, yeah, I mean, that's not enough offense for you to win a game, and that's going to be something that the Bees will look to improve on, certainly in the offseason. So it'll be interesting. They'll have Chris Bassett back and Jack Flaherty. 3 runs given up by Flaherty in his innings of work, but he walked a ton of guys. He walked, where is his walks? He walked 6 guys in 5 innings. Danielson on the Mets struggled for sure. Peter Fairbanks, 3.1 innings, scoreless. Miles Michaelis, who they got in a trade, was really good in the regular season, really sucked in the playoffs. They'll have him back, though, for another year. Evan Marshall and Adam Wainwright, you know, he'll be a free agent. I won't have him retire because he didn't actually retire in real life after 2022. So I'll have him pitch and go somewhere else, but we'll see where that is going to be. As here's Carlos Rodon, and, you know, this team in the Houston and New York Honey Badgers went a lot further in the playoffs than I expected them to. And Rodon, I mean, 4 runs allowed in 19 innings. He had a really good postseason overall, 22 strikeouts and, you know, a 2.84 ERA. So, yeah, really good postseason for him. And, you know, this team definitely went a lot further than I expected them to, and their pitching was the biggest role in that. Chris Paddock, 4 runs allowed in 11 innings for him. Zach Greinke allowed 2 runs in his 2 starts with 12 strikeouts. He was fantastic. He'll be 39 years old next year, I believe. And, yeah, I know he's coming down to his end of his career, but he'll still be pitching for a couple more seasons. Justin Steele, 2 runs in his innings of work. Luis Hernandez had a pretty good postseason start. Lucas Gill was, okay. Kirby Yates did blow a save, and it was a pretty big one in the LCS. Gave up 2 runs in 5 innings. Austin Adams struggled a little bit, 3 runs, and Devin Smeltzer, 1 run in 3.2 innings. Now, I think the bullpen was a little inconsistent. Sean Doolittle was a good standout. He didn't give up anything much, but Scott Alexander was okay. Anthony Bender was good. Should have maybe used him a bit more, but Dominic Leone, he gave up a couple of big runs, and he gave up that walk-off, of course, to Rafael Devers in extra innings. But, you know, what this team was lacking in their offense, they made up for in their pitching, and that's why they were able to get so far. But the offense is going to have to be their main concern going into the postseason because, you know, you had a really good postseason from Aaron Judge. 14 hits for him, 4 home runs and 10 RBIs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 2 doubles. So he had over 1.1, 1.2 OPS. He was fantastic. So was Austin Riley, 10 hits, 3 home runs and 5 ribbies, a 571 slugging and a 930 OPS. And Christian Yelich, man, 10 at bats, 4 home runs. He had a couple of really standout hits in the postseason. He was one of the guys that this team relied on to supply some big power and 967 OPS. So he hit really well, but besides that, yeah, that's where it kind of goes way downhill for the offense. Julio Farrell started off strong, but didn't do much at all in the ALCS and only finished with 9 hits and 36 at-bats, no walks, 8 strikeouts for him and 4 doubles, I believe. Ha-Seong Kim had like three hits in the entirety of the LCS and 8 in the postseason. Jack McNeil was okay, 9 for 39. I mean, nothing special there. Ramon Laureano sucked in the LCS. He did get that one huge home run that walked off the ALDS, but really struggled after that. Jalen Miller, 6 for 30. Did have a home run, but didn't do much. Miguel Cabrera also didn't do much. Had one really standout game back into the LCS in Game 1, but that was about it for him. And then nobody else did anything. So, yeah, that's where the concern is certainly going to be is, they're going to look for a shortstop or a second baseman in the offseason because their offense did not perform very well at all, and that's going to be their biggest concern. So they're looking for them to be big in the free agent market in the offseason. Well, for the offense for the Boston Barons in their 4 games, it was a Kyle Tucker and a Matt Rosario. I mean, that was basically it. 5 at-bats and 15 at-bats and 5 hits, 3 home runs for Kyle Tucker, and an over 1.3 OPS. He was good. Matt Rosario had 3 home runs and 4 hits in his 17 at-bats. But Luis Arias, only 3 hits, 1 run, and a 1 homer. Darren Ruff only had 2 hits. Kevin Kiermaier had 2. Ford had 1. McCutcheon only had 1. Alejandro Kirk only had 1. Mike Stasio, Lander, Alessio, Matt Barnes. I mean, Kevin Biggio didn't have a single hit. So, yeah, this team in the offensive department was just anemic. They could not muster up any offense, which is kind of surprising because their offense was in the top half of their, of the league. Joe Musgrove was really good. He had a really good start. He's going to be a free agent, and I don't know whether or not Boston's going to be able to bring him back. So he'll be a big free agent. So will Nathan Eovaldi. Both of those guys, big free agents for the Barons. So their pitching staff is going to maybe look a little bit different going into next season. John King was good out of the bullpen for them. Tanner Scott was pretty bad. Drew Steckenrider was pretty bad. I mean, overall, the bullpen for this team and the Barons was not that great. Miguel Figueroa was absolutely awful. And I don't really know why they used him at all. I mean, he's only a 68 overall. Gave up like 2 hits and a walk. So he was just really bad. But yeah, that was their team, and they're gonna look. I don't know what they're gonna do. That team is gonna look probably a little bit different, especially with their pitching. Well, this was a team that this is the number 1 seed in the AL, and they kind of stuck the bed. They did not really do very well in the playoffs. Their starting pitching was not great. Their bullpen was pretty off and on, not very good at all. And AJ Minter, 4 runs and 2 innings. He really struggled. John Curtis struggled as well. So, yeah, their bullpen kind of sucked in the playoffs for sure. And the offense was not very good. I mean, I'm just going to have to say it. Their offense was pretty anemic here. Cesar Hernandez, I mean, he's an 80 overall. He's not a guy that you would expect to do much. He had 9 hits, and he was the best offensive player for this team. And that's a problem. If Cesar Hernandez is this team's best offensive guy, I think that is a indicative of how this team struggled in the postseason. But in Sandy Bradley, the Cruz had 5 hits, no home runs and RBI. Benintendi had 4 hits, a home run, and 3 RBIs. Bogarts, 3 hits. Jared Walsh only had 2. Juan Soto only had 2 and a home run. He struggled. Joe Dodd only had 2. Urshela only had 2. Nick Solak only had 1. I mean, that's not going to do it, guys. This offense was really good in the regular season. They were one of the better offenses in baseball, but in the postseason, they could not muster up much of anything. So that's it. That's the stats in the postseason, and that's one final look at what this postseason bracket looked like. And that is it for year 1 in this franchise. So how about that? What a run for the Houston Reapers. They win the World Series, an 74 final record in a World Series championship. So that's the wrap on the regular season. I think we'll have 2 postseason or 2 off-season videos that I'll come out with, and I'm not sure they'll probably come out pretty soon because I don't need to edit those episodes that much, honestly. So expect the off-season to come out here. I'll probably try and get a couple of them out next week because I'm not in school anymore. Summer is starting for me. So expect 2 off-season vids next week, and then we can get to year 2. Don't want to keep you guys waiting much on that. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a fun year one for me to do in this franchise, and the postseason was awesome. A lot of really good games and a lot of special moments, and I'm just glad that you guys stuck around for that and you guys watched this. We'll be coming out also with a postseason recap video and a postseason highlight video as well. I'm really excited for that one. It's going to be really fun. So I hope you guys watch that one. And to be stayed up and notified of when I come out with the off-season and the postseason recap of the off-season videos, remember to subscribe to the channel, guys. I would really appreciate it. Really appreciate the support that I've gotten recently on the postseason videos. And I appreciate you guys watching this one. This has been a fun little thing that I do and that I get to do for a hobby. So I'll be trying to crank out as much as I can in the summertime. I don't know how much time I'll really have, but we'll see how it goes. But I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to subscribe again. You've been listening to Lucas from Mars. Have a great weekend, everybody, and God bless.